as you would know, at the last local government elections, gosh, 2 weeks ago yesterday, doesn't time fly? Feels a lot longer than 2 weeks ago at the local government elections. In fact, our next guest, his wife's just been made deputy mayor, I see, of the Western Bay of Plenty. Or his partner, sorry. But we'll talk to him in just a second about that. But there was also, and far more important possibly than the election even of the deputy mayor of Western Bay of Plenty, was the Maori wards. And there was a big campaign both for and against Maori wards. Hobson's pledge led the antis, and there were any number of folk who were leading the pro. But at the end of that, I think there were 42 or 43 referenda throughout the country, and they were relatively evenly divided, with the majority of them voting against Maori wards. But in 18, I think, districts or in city councils, Maori wards were endorsed democratically by the people. I'm not sure, reading all the commentary since then, that either side is particularly happy about those results. And so I will be talking to those who both promoted and opposed Maori wards over the next wee while to get some sort of indication of, well, where are we going for the next 3 years then, and possibly the next 5 as a consequence of. And joining us is, as I said, the primary spokesperson and founder of Hobson's Pledge, Don Brash, and he joins us now. Don, welcome to the show. Good morning to you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning, Michael. Good to be with you.
And well done to Margaret. I understand she's now Deputy Mayor of the Western Bay of Plenty.
Yes, she is. Very pleased about that too.
Because she stood for the mayor and finished runner-up, didn't she?
That's correct. There were 8 candidates for mayor, and she was number 2. So the mayor made her the deputy.
That's a smart move. No, good on the mayor. That's a smart move too, actually. That's the way you'll get a united council. Brilliant. Listen, but as part of that, how did Western Bay of Plenty, by the way, vote on Maori wards, or didn't they have a referendum?
Yes, we had a referendum in Western Bay, and that rejected Maori wards. Of course, the council created a Maori ward, as you know, which is why the referendum was held. So there will be a Maori ward in the Western Bay for the next 3 years, but the referendum went against it, so that at the end of 3 years, the Maori ward will disappear. It's one of the paradoxes of the structure we've got. You have a referendum, you reject Maori wards, but for the next 3 years, you've got a Maori ward.
Yeah, I mean, do you blame the National Party for, in actual fact, creating that legislation? I mean, why didn't they just say, if there's going to be a referendum, then those people don't get elected?
Well, that would have been tidier, I must say, because the people who've been elected in Maori wards will be sort of, on tenterhooks and hoping, I suppose, that the government changes.
There's a change in government,
yeah.
That's ironic. Listen, you campaigned and Hobson's Pledge did against Maori wards for months and months leading up to this particular event. 18 of them democratically elected by referendum to have them. What's your view on that? Because you've still got a view, surely, that Maori wards are by their nature wrong, and we don't need to have an ethnic bias in our local government affairs. But I could be wrong. What do you think now?
No, absolutely right. We should get rid of those. We don't want racially based representation at either local body level or parliament level, frankly. The electorates, Maori electorates, are also a total anomaly in 2025. Should have been scrapped when MMP was adopted, as the Royal Commission on the Electoral System recommended back in 1986. So we'll be campaigning against Maori wards. Obviously, it's not a hot issue in the immediate future because we're stuck with them for the next 2 or 3 years anyway. It's significant, I think, that we actually had 24 councils, areas, districts vote against them, given the huge amount of propaganda there was in favour of them. I mean, the Electoral Commission, which in theory is totally unbiased and so on, had on its website a recommendation from the local government New Zealand, which was positively recommending Maori wards. Western Bay itself, Western Bay District Council, had a promotion of Maori wards. I mean, it was not a fair fight in a sense. There were significant forces arraigned against us promoting Maori wards. It's interesting that the ones where Maori wards were supported were overwhelmingly of 2 kinds. One, they were Wellington districts. Anyone within a stone throw of Wellington voted in favour of Maori wards, and I suppose that's reflective of the sort of the culture of Wellington, the woke DEI, public service mentality. The other ones who voted for Maori wards, paradoxically, were areas where there was a large proportion of Maori in the population. Now, the bizarre thing about that is that you think, with a high proportion of Maori in the population, why would you need separate Maori wards? Now, the nature of the case, if there are a lot of Maori there, why don't they elect Maori to the council on merit? You don't need a Maori, or shouldn't need a Maori ward. But areas like Makatani, for example, voted for Maori wards, and for the life of me, I don't fully understand the logic of that.
So did Gisborne, I think, as well. And no, I understand that. But having said that, aren't you in something of a bind now? Excuse me, I'm just going to get rid of my black pussy, which is all over the show. Sorry, Don, I'm just being interrupted and invaded by the four-legged variety at the moment. Don, but haven't you got a problem now? They were democratically elected. No matter the lead-in, those people who are voting in 18 districts or cities say we want to continue with them. Doesn't that present you with a democratic dilemma?
Oh, I mean, on the contrary, some of those districts are ones which voted against Maori wards when referenda were held a few years ago. So opinions change, and we all recognise that the actual voter turnout in most of these districts was quite low. So,
well, can't you use the same argument for the rejection of Maori wards as well, that there wasn't an overwhelming mandate?
That's true. Good comment.
Yeah.
That's quite right. Yep, agree with that.
Yeah.
But I mean, we will consistently fight for no racially based representation at all. I mean, it's in 2025, it is nonsensical that we have separate racially based representation for that particular ethnic group only. There's no other racially based representation. I was
no, but we've had Maori seats in Parliament since what? Is it 1867, I think? 1867. Right. The Maori Representation Act was there. So New Zealand's well used to having separate Maori representation. You might argue that over the last 160 years, it's a part of our political culture. So I guess there's nothing particularly new about that. Whether or not it's appropriate in today and the same need exists is a good question. Obviously, you've entered that debate. But when you put it democratically to cities and districts and they say, yeah, that'll suit us, and they come back, you're arguing against democracy, Don, really, aren't you?
No. Well, I would argue that we need to obviously the democratic will of the people is the dominant and must be the final arbiter of these matters, and I totally accept that. But I also believe that people are open to suggestion, open to changing their mind, and that's what we're aiming to do.
Okay, all right. Well, that's fair enough. So I don't have a problem with that. I mean, something's not necessarily ossified, and we've, again, as you know, 20 years after the event, voted on whether or not MMP, for example, should continue to be our electoral system. So we voted on that, and we reaffirmed our particular original decision. But in this particular case, are you suggesting that there should be at some time in the future when all this goes back and districts and cities are asked again? Or are you saying, no, I want to go to Parliament and I want to abolish them?